As summer approaches, Canadians can be forgiven for having that familiar road trip refrain in mind. Are we there yet? For the last few years, we've asked variations of that same question. The COVID-19 pandemic. Can we emerge from the lockdown yet? Inflation. Has my grocery bill stopped shooting up yet? Growth. Have we hit that recession yet? Monetary policy. Have we started raising and then cutting interest rates yet? The landing. Has the global economy moved past pandemic-induced distortions yet? It's felt like one long 4-year road trip. Export Development Canada's Spring 2024 Global Economic Outlook forecasts a smooth, if uninspiring, ride through this year, with the global economy expected to grow by just 2.9%. Next year, we expect growth will shift into higher gear at 3.3% as lower interest rates and the normalization of activity help leave the post-pandemic economy behind. Growth in Canada will decelerate in 2024 to just 0.9% before rising to 1.8% in 2025. The near-term drag is the result of a highly indebted Canadian consumer whose sizable debt servicing requirements have led to a focus on savings over spending. Business investment is also being constrained by elevated interest rates and tighter financing conditions. However, the prospect of interest rate cuts on the horizon has helped boost both consumer and business confidence. This should fuel a gradual increase in spending and investment going forward, giving the economy the momentum needed for a stronger 2025. While inflation is falling back to target, price growth remains sticky in certain areas, and the interest rate descent will be gradual. Taken together, all these forces will cause the Canadian dollar to climb slightly from an average of 74 cents US in 2024 to 78 cents in 2025. Now, in contrast to Canada, American consumers have worked hard to repair their balance sheets over the last 15 years. A resilient labor market has supported steady growth in wages and employment, generating a spending splurge that's helped power U.S. outperformance relative to other developed market economies. We anticipate U.S. growth of 2.3% in 2024. As the U.S. labor market cools, however, still elevated prices and interest rates should slow things down. Weaker consumer spending will see broader economic momentum fade heading into 2025, causing growth to ease back to 1.8%. We expect the U.S. Federal Reserve to begin easing interest rates midway through 2024. However, as with the Bank of Canada, the Fed will take a cautious approach to its interest rate U-turn, keeping close watch of volatile inflation gauges. Europe can be expecting a bumpier ride, with the euro area forecast to grow by just 0.7% in 2024 and 1.7% in 2025. Across the region, governments are looking to stabilize spending, and European Central Bank tightening has led to demand destruction. At the same time, industrial production continues to struggle with energy security concerns, and stalling Chinese demand is weighing on the region's export base. Weakness in China is expected to continue this year and linger into the near term, with growth forecast at 4.7% in 2024 and 4.4% in 2025. Now, despite fiscal stimulus and modest monetary policy easing, the effects of the country's property sector slowdown and weak consumer and business confidence will persist. That said, additional rounds of government support should prevent deflationary forces from taking hold. This modest global demand outlook muddies the path for commodity prices. Reduced Chinese activity will hit metals and minerals pricing, especially for those that experience production increases in anticipation of a surge in electrification demand. Gold will see stronger pricing this year as the wave of global elections increases policy uncertainty before pulling back in 2025. West Texas Intermediate oil prices are expected to average $77 a barrel in 2024 and fall to an average of $70 in 2025 as supplies continue to outpace demand growth. The bottom line? Our forecast for 2024 calls for lackluster growth as consumer spending reaches its limits and businesses retrench. Fiscal policy will be governed primarily by the need to manage widening budget deficits and only turn supportive for priority areas or if growth really sputters. Meanwhile, global trade is being hindered by softening demand, ongoing trade disruptions, and policy uncertainty. As we look to 2025, a pickup in activity is expected to pull growth back to pre-pandemic levels, bringing with it opportunities for those who've prepared for the journey. This week, a very special thank you to Ross Persakowski, Director of our Economic and Political Intelligence Center. As always at DDC Economics, we value your feedback. If you've got ideas for topics you'd like us to explore, please email us and we'll do our very best to cover them in future episodes. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.